What's going on, everybody? As you can see, I have the tier list already made. Now, what's this tier list about? This tier list is the character community toxicity. So, it's not necessarily how fun or anti-fun the character is to go up against, whereas subconsciously that's going to be a factor, obviously, but it's generally more like interactions with the community. So let's say um, someone plays a really toxic character to fight, but they're only nice, that character will go unpleasant to be around. And let's say a character is really fun to play against, and you check your Steam profile and they're like, "Go lie in a coffin." Well, that person is obviously gonna drag their character down, and down to Chernobyl you go. So let me go explain every character. I need to timestamp this video, so if the video is not timestamped, leave a comment and I will timestamp this. Um, right, first timestamp right here. Every time I start a new character, I'm gonna put my hand up like this, and that way I will know for editing the video that um, timestamp there, right? So Jun. John is pleasant to be around. The players are always nice. I never get teabaggers. I don't get any bad vibes from the character. I also like how the character is designed in terms of like you have to be wary of her building up the gauge, but like on her end, building up the gauge is gonna like cost her damage because she's used a move that doesn't do as much damage in order to build up the gauge. So it's like a more cleverly designed version of the Clive gauge. And by the way, it's cooler looking as well when it finally charges all the way up. So very well, brilliantly designed character. Character is super nice, like literally design wise. So I'm assuming that is gonna bring in a lot of nice players. Um, and usually I don't get anybody who teabags or is toxic. So we're gonna go peak. Literally, obviously, Mother Nature herself gonna bring in like the nicest player base. I would assume. Here we have. Oh, by the way, LG, that low tier god troll. That's the closest to a toxic jump player. But still, at the same time, even their videos kind of it's more like funny, wholesome than like toxic in any way. So yeah, I at worst funny wholesome would be where John is, but not everyone is LG. Yeah, uh, good vibes from that character. Armor King, I have a friend called Rambo the Goat. Shout out Rambo the Goat. Uh, Definitely the Goat. He gave me early access to Tekken. He mains Armor King. I Do you know how Armor King brings in like a more of a black demographic than like some of like a super white character like Victor or something. Um, Rambo was kind of drawn to Armor King because he's like King but even more dark skin. Um, so a lot of people are gonna play him just because they want to play a character that is the same color as them, which I mean, sure, if you want to do that. But like I don't. If you want to do that, it's your choice. I don't. My main is Asuka, and like I'm not a girl, so you guys do whatever you want. Hopefully you can tell I'm not a girl. Like the beard, I hope gives it away. Um, but yeah, players who do that, I don't mind. I just think it's almost a little bit corny, but um, at the end of the day, your choice to play the character you want to play. And by the way, that guy is super nice. So I'm not gonna hold that against him. It's just something I noticed. And like I don't really have something to do with that information. It's just something I noticed. Um, Maybe slightly egotistical, but I don't not like very, very, very slightly, uh, to play a character just because they look like you. But that I don't give a shit if people want to be confident. Good for them. Actually, good for them. So let's move on to Lili. Hands up. So that I timestamp that this is where the Lili portion is. Portion, Jesus, if I can speak. Right. So, oh, by the way, speaking of, I'm just gonna go back a second because of the whole bringing in demographics thing. Tekken definitely tried to do that with Shaheen to bring in like Muslim players, but it didn't. I don't think it worked. Um, I don't see Shaheen at all. Even though a lot of Muslims play Tekken, I barely ever see Shaheen. So it doesn't work most of the time when companies try pander. Excuse me, when companies try pander. But I guess sometimes it does work. But I think people play Armor King mostly because he's cool rather than because he's black. Whereas with Shaheen, Shaheen's not really cool. So if you're gonna play Shaheen, it's probably because like you're a Muslim yourself. So that's probably why. But maybe I don't know. Maybe you think he's like a sleeper, broken character, kind of same with Leo. Um, but yeah, this is about Lili, and I'm talking about other characters. All right, Lili. Player base. I just they're almost in funny wholesome because I remember there was like a legacy skin for Lili that like her dress didn't have some sort of detail was wrong about her dress. And the players were like, "You got this wrong, blah blah blah. We're gonna boycott the game, blah." And fucking Tekken was like bowing down to the heat of the player base and was like, "Okay, Jesus, Jesus, fix this," and they actually fixed her dress. So that's hilarious. So I want to put in funny wholesome, but the character, as well as being funny wholesome, the player base is like legit based. So I just love the Lili player base. I think they're so funny and like so cool. So uh definitely putting the Lili player base in like super respected. And also the character is like very fair. Like especially compared to a lot of these other characters. Um so yeah, it's a combination of being like fair and based that is funny. And like makes me want to put in pleasant to be around. Marizu, kind of similar situation where uh, they're the character is so honest that it's kind of like a season 3 preview. Like a lot of people who are playing Marizu, they're playing Marizu because the fundamentals of the way the character plays is going to carry over into season 3 a lot better than all these other characters, really, because she's the last DLC we've gotten, and you can clearly see in the character like game design that she is gonna bring in a wave of better Tekken, and I can't wait for it. I'm Yeah, it's gonna be fun. And the people playing her, instead of getting a fucking cheap quick win now like Bryan players, um, who just want to win and play the best character and taunt jet upper, and it's easier to do than down forward 2 perfect electric. um, I'd almost say it's easier to do than perfect electric itself, but I won't get too hot with my takes. And also we're talking about Marizu. Hopefully, did I put my hand up to say that I'm bookmarking that area? I don't know. Right, Reina. So Reina is gonna go. By the way, why am I scratching my nose like a fucking idiot? Um, How does that look? Does that look like I'm a weird fuck? I'm looking at myself on OBS. Kinda. Right, Reina. I mean, fuck, not Reina. That's a predecessor. Reina. Um, so Reina, I think these players want to get better at the game. They're picking a new character who's really hard, like legit really hard, not fake really hard like Bryan. Yeah, I'm gonna be throwing shade at Bryan throughout the video. So if you're maining Bryan, up here's some tissues. Okay, no, I'm joking. I know not every Bryan player is an asshole, but I've found so many Bryan players to be assholes that uh, they're kind of why I made this video. Actually, main man Sui is why I made this video. He did a tier list like this, but he never uploaded the video. I was lucky that someone else reacted to the video, and that's how I seen it. So I decided, hey, that's a really good idea. I'm gonna make a version of my own. So yeah, Rena, they're kind of tryhards, but they're tryhards that are playing a character that's very honest. They're not tryhards that are trying to just win. So yeah, and by the way, I get good vibes from Rena. I mean Reina, Jesus. Character is cool. Um, yeah, I don't have very good newcomer to Tekken. I know I kind of sound a bit like a parrot because that's what main man Sui says, but I'm influenced. Um, right, Yoshimitsu. He obviously is going to remind me of Moonsault Slayer. I'm gonna put pleasant to be around because generally Yoshimitsus are kind of funny, wholesome, but the community is like so based that I'm gonna put them a tier above funny, wholesome. So yeah, Yoshimitsu players are awesome. I'm actually gonna put Kuma and pleasant to be around now on second thought because they're kind they should be funny wholesome really, but they're they're so cool and I like them so much that I have to put them in pleasant to be around. Um, Panda players I almost get weird vibes from because they almost should go in funny toxic, but for the most part, Panda players are funny wholesome. We're talking about Jack 8 now. Um, I like to do Kuma and Panda as a duo, but Jack 8. Obviously, funny, wholesome. If you've played a bit against Jack 8 in Tekken 8, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And the player base are obviously Sigmas. Um, Panda, definitely funny, wholesome. I've already mentioned Panda. I'm gonna stop the whole hand putting up shit for the timestamp. I'm gonna manually go through the video and timestamp everything. Um, but yeah, uh, Raven, funny, wholesome because a lot of people play Raven are like anime weeby guys who love ninja and dress their character up as Naruto and shit like that. So yeah, honest. By the way, this is about the community, so don't freak out. Um, Anna is in honest because their community is honest, not the player, not the character. Okay, so before you go attack me, realize that this video is not talking about the character; it's talking about the community, and the community is pretty funny, like cool. I have good interactions with every Anna player I've met. Do you know what? They're pleasant to be around. Yeah, they are pleasant to be around. Uh, Fahkumram players, they're actually also going up in pleasant to be around on second thought. Um, they're playing a very honest game, and also the whole appeal of Fahkumram is actually quite cool. I assumed he was a bad guy character. Turns out he's actually not. So I I guess it was the angry look and the face tats and all that that made me judge, but My bad for judging. Fahkumram is actually a cool character. Um, and by the way, it's not about the character, but that kind of draw, that draw, like that lore, draws people in that is interested in that type of stuff. And I appreciate when people like a character because the character is actually cool in like a lore sense, or like engaging or endearing in some way. Um, Asuka, I I think Asuka is kind of endearing. I main Asuka. I also kind of main Kazuya as well. But for season two, I gave up on playing Asuka in ranked because I know it's just a mash fest. Um, my character's not super honest. Their character's not super honest, and it's kind of just like, okay, well, we're we're not playing a fun version of Tekken. Season three is going to be a way better version of Tekken than this shit. Um, but Asuka, I think she draws in a community that's kind of new. Asuka players are new. Because another thing that brought me into Asuka is I was searching around, like, what's a good character for learning the game and a good character for beginners. And Asuka was the one everyone recommended, first one to come up. So a lot of Asuka players are new. So yeah, the player base on Asuka, they're new. And Fergus also, wholesome. Yeah, I'm gonna. I didn't. I put him in. Sorry, I put her in honest because I didn't want to come across as biased. But to be honest, um, a lot of the player base is very new, so they're more like even myself. A lot of these characters in my fun tier list. If you go back and watch my fun tier list, I kept saying like I have a lot to learn. I don't want to say that a character is unfair or like this, that, and the other about a character because I don't know enough about the game to really say that Hwoarang is unfair, for example. Um, but when everyone is saying that season two has kind of made the game a lot more brain dead and unfair, and characters like Hwoarang are just not fun and unfair, like that has my opinion kind of influenced nowadays. But I'm still on the boat that hey, I'm still kind of new to Tekken 8. Like I have hundreds of hours on the game, but I'm new in the sense that it's my first Tekken game that I've actually taken seriously. In Tekken 7, I was playing Tekken bowling more than the actual game, and back then I made Xiaoyu, and I was literally in the practice mode for weeks, trying to learn how the character works because I saw, holy shit, every character has like 100 moves. So it's gonna take literally weeks in practice mode before I even go into ranked. And by the time I went into ranked, Tekken 8 was out. And for Tekken 8, I was like, all right, well, do I want to play a character that everyone hates, or do I want to play a character that's for beginners? And turns out I played a character that now falls into both categories, which is Asuka. So I was kind of peer pressured a little bit out of playing Xiaoyu, and a lot of these characters up here, uh, they get peer pressured, because of people like Main Man Sui who will say all the female characters are easy to play, and that stigma has kind of stuck around. But I want to fight against it. I want to kind of say, well, you know what? That stigma is kind of bullshit because I played Bryan, who used glazed like crazy, and doing taunt jet upper even on my controller is not actually that hard. It took me 40 minutes to do. With Kazuya, yeah, down forward 2 into perfect electric, I still can't do it, and I have had hours to try do it. I don't know how to do that shit. I looked up guides. I did a lot, and I don't know how to do that shit. I'm gonna keep trying, and one day I will say that I did pull it off. Um, but yeah, I haven't been able to do that yet. With Bryan, I don't know why Bryan gets glazed so hard. Yeah, technically it was hard to do taunt jab upper, but it took 40 minutes, and then after 40 minutes, when I got it once, I kept replicating the same input, and I was able to get it like about 20% of the time. So, if I kept practicing, I would get it more. But like, the reason I don't main characters like Bryan, I kind of main Kazuya a little bit because I do like Kazuya. But the reason I started the game not wanting to main a character like Heihachi, Bryan, Kazuya, or any like super technical input characters is because I didn't want to just get controller diffed by people where um, people are using a better controller than me, so therefore they're gonna beat me. I thought that was just not fun. So, uh, yeah, I didn't want to do that shit. I didn't want to get I didn't want to get to a certain point and feel like, okay, well, the only way to step up my game is if I get a hitbox. Um, I didn't want to get paywalled like that, so I decided I'm gonna play an easier character that doesn't have these technical inputs, and I landed on Asuka and Xiaoyu. I don't play Xiaoyu nowadays, but Xiaoyu was a character that I was told was easy, and she doesn't have any of those like blue sparks or anything like that. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna get controller gapped. She's a future-proof character, is what I'm saying. And so is Asuka. Anyway, let's move on. Hopefully yeah. Okay, Clive. I'm gonna put him in honest. He is very cancer to play against. And I think some of the player base may be toxic sometimes, but they're very rare. Most of the time, I think they're just Final Fantasy fans, so they play him because they like Final Fantasy, and I respect that, you know. Devil Jin, the character's honest, he's difficult, and he should go with the other Mishimas. Definitely above Jin, definitely above Heihachi, in terms of honesty, in terms of like the community being honest about him. Do you know what? I need a new tier because oh shit, what am I doing? No, what am I? Oh, fuck, I almost made the same mistake. All right, we're back. Um, we need a new tier because characters like Devil Jin, they're not the best. So calling him honest, because honest implies that like the character is good, but at least the players are honest about him. Devil Jin doesn't really fit in there, so um, we'll do clean because what's the opposite of toxic? Clean, right? So clean. We're putting Devil Jin in clean. Is there anyone else who's kind of bad? Most characters aren't bad, so you're not going to really see a lot of characters in clean. Um, and by the way, I'm this opinion that Devil Jin is clean is kind of influenced by Main Man Sui. Um, I don't know if he's truly the worst character in the game, but I don't know. Uh, Heihachi is definitely not clean, so that's why he's not going up with the boys. All right, Clive. Oh, sorry. For the sake of bookmarks, I mean timestamps. I need to talk about Kazuya. So Kazuya Obviously, very difficult character. He's strong enough, but like there's obviously a skill gap there. You can say that you can just overcome that skill gap by using a broken controller, but I don't want to consider that too much. Um, the player base when they are kind of elitist, they're they're kind of right. Like he is a difficult character, so I don't want to put down people's skill, especially if they're not just using the hitbox. So Clive, I've already talked about Clive. Dragonov, they're players who mm, I'm gonna put him in clean because I feel like he's been toned down quite a lot from what he used to be. And by the way, there's nothing I can say now that's gonna influence the balance. Not that I ever had that type of pull anyway, but don't I don't want to say something that could like most people who talk about this game, I don't like saying stuff that could influence Namco to balance in a certain way. Every character needs nerfs, pretty much. Like season 2 was a big mistake. Season 3 is gonna hopefully fix those mistakes. The game is way too aggressive. It's way too mashy. Moves are way too broken. Strings are way too difficult and kind of nonsensical to counterplay. There's just a lot of bullshit in Tekken right now where you're kind of forced to guess, and we'll get there when we get there. But there's one character in particular who kind of embodies that you have to guess type of mentality. Um, right, so that was talking about Dragonov. Feng, I'm gonna put Feng in clean because the players they don't downplay or overplay or like they're not funny wholesome. They're kind of he's kind of just so generic. Uh, but I get good vibes from the character. When I think of Fang Wei, the only guy. Oh well, there's two. I'm gonna put him in the same level as Armor King because I have a friend who plays him. So and my friend is pleasant to be around. Also, the other player that I know who plays him is Mike Hollow. Mike Hollow, I should probably make a video about the Mike Hollow and Main Man Sui beef because I have I have stuff to say on that I haven't heard anyone say, and it's gonna seem like I'm attacking Mike Hollow, but I'm not. Like I like Mike Hollow. That's why I'm not saying oh Mike Hollow and fucking dragging him down. But there was something about Mike Hollow's response video that it needs to be addressed, and I'm gonna save that for the time. So hype. There's gonna be beef. I'm gonna be beefing with people. All right. Heihachi. He's kind of in the same boat as Kazuya. However, he's dishonest, and people downplay him. So, oh shit! What the fuck? The character is dishonest, and people downplay him. They used to downplay him a lot more, but they don't downplay him as much. So it kind of evens him out where he's in honest, and also I respect the fact that um, he's a legendary character. A lot of people who play Heihachi just play Heihachi because they like Heihachi. Cool character. Jin, kind of same boat. When I think of Jin, I think of Nova Saiken. Um, so I would definitely put him in honest. But I know Jin players are super known for downplaying and kind of being spoilt. Yeah, and like even Nova Saiken himself, he tried to do that cope that, oh well, you can react to Scourge. Yeah, bro, look, yes, maybe you can react to Scourge if it's the only thing you're looking for. But if you do that, you're playing right into Jin's hands, where now you're trying to react to Scourge, and you're getting blown up by everything else. So it's a really bad way to play the game. It's a way that is going to cost you your life, and it's a way that is going to only benefit Jin. So, you know, if you have good reflexes and Scourge is the only thing you're looking for, maybe, but then you're playing right into Jin's hands, so it's just not it's not a good counterplay to say just react, bro. It kind of reminds me of in Smash 4 when Bayo players would say just the eye, bro, and it was like it doesn't work. The counterplay literally doesn't work, because the character has ways to beat the counterplay. So yeah, it kind of reminds me too much of that. So even though I like Nova Saikin, I think his new videos are better than his older videos. The Why is that under my legs like that, Jesus? Um, his Some of his earlier takes were not good. Um, but nowadays, I think Nova Saikin's videos have significantly improved. And it's about the player base, so I don't know. Should I put him in? He's about to get. Okay, look. I'm gonna put him in pleasant to be around, strictly because of Nova Saikin, and I'm going to say I'm gonna give benefit of the doubt that in season 3 they're not gonna be crying about how the character needs to be buffed. Jin mains keep each other under control because if you go into season 3 and you start saying, "Oh, my character was nerfed too much, but everyone else got nerfed too," you're gonna look like dorks. Right, King is gonna go in honest because I think a lot of, even though the character plays in a way that's kind of trolly, especially with the giant swing and stuff like that, when they try spam it. Um, I think a lot of people just kind of love King. The influence for King, which was the Mexican guy who he was a wrestler to raise funds for uh, the orphanage. Like that's a really wholesome story. That's a super cool um, like character influence. So I kind of respect King for that. Um, yeah, I respect King for that. But I remember some guy in the Discord was talking shit um, to me because I was talking about how I don't really like how I would prefer if nobody had a perfect throw game so that you never have to guess. You can, if you have the knowledge that one beats everything, or one plus two beats everything, or two beats everything, you can just react and press that button. But I guess since he's a grappler, I can kind of see why it makes sense that you should maybe be ducking under the throws or like sidestepping. Like you can sidestep, so I guess the guy who was talking, do you know what? I was kind of wrong. You can sidestep the throws, so there we go. Uh, yeah, I forgive that guy, okay? And also, I roasted the ever living fuck out of him because I was saying that you're playing a gimmick character that eventually once people figure him out, you can't progress. So you're playing in God of Destruction 1, um, and you will never be able to proceed from there because your character is based on a gimmick that once people have figured out, um, your gimmick doesn't work, and therefore your character doesn't work. So I was basically he didn't have a response to that, so I feel like I won the argument. Even though that's a really like I was being toxic at the time, and I don't know if that's really true. I guess there is kind of some truth in it, though. Even though I was trying to be toxic, like the better you get at breaking throws and sidestepping throws and all that counterplay to throws, the worse King and Armor King get. But I do like the character, but I don't have a friend who plays him the way Armor King does. So he's gonna stay at the bottom there. Uh, I really like the whole Mexican wrestler story though. I like it more than the Fahkumram story, so we're gonna put him there. Um, right. I think I'm gonna move Asuka up a little bit because she's bringing in players who are new. So hmm, either here or here. I'm gonna be biased. She is my main. Um, right. Who's next? God, I went so off topic. Who was I even ranking? I was ranking King. Yeah, okay. Um, Clive, yeah, Clive is gonna stay in honest. I think most people who play him are Final Fantasy fans. Um, they're honest about their character. They know that he's broken. Uh, yeah, yeah, honest. Heihachi, some people were downplaying, but we'll let it slide. Um, we'll keep him in honest. Oh shit, I thought I already talked about Heihachi. Am I a dumbass? Don't answer that. Right. Did I already talk about Heihachi? And oh, I think I did briefly when I was talking about Kazuya. This is the problem with talking about other characters. Um, but no, no, this timestamp is for Heihachi. Right, we're moving on to Leroy. Leroy, the character. Oh, sorry, Leroy goes in clean because the character isn't that broken. Um, yeah, at the time I made it, the first time I made the list, clean wasn't a thing. But now it is. So, yeah, Lidia, everyone knows she's broken. The people who play her know she's broken. I get good vibes from Lidia, and the people who play Lidia, but at the end of the day, they're just playing to win. They're fucking sweating their arse off, and it's a bit tedious, especially when the character really highlights the problems with Tekken 8. Um, it's kind of like Lars, but we're not gonna make the sin of talking about other characters when we're in the Lidia timestamp. Okay, so we're moving on to Steve. Steve, mm, the character is very strong, but I think he's gonna get nerfed. I almost want to put him in clean, but I know he's really strong. I'm gonna put him in clean. Fuck it. I think there's more counterplay that I have to learn when it comes to Steve. I know people will disagree. I know people will say, "Oh, he's super broken," but maybe they're right. But this is my list, and me personally, I think that there's more to learn when it comes to the Steve matchup. Um, Xiaoyu, you're going into clean. Again, there's more to learn. Um, they say, "Oh, learn the matchup, learn the matchup." They're right. Fuck it. I'm gonna say it. They're literally right. Um, and it's not their fault that the character isn't played much. and they also do get a lot of shit from people like Main Man Sui, who like says that every character with a pussy is for pussies and is easy mode. So I'm tired of that stigma. I think it's fucking overplayed now, and it's unhealthy for the game because you're kind of bullying people out of playing a character that they like. And I don't care if, look, you have your opinion. You want to say these characters are easy mode and all that shit. Go ahead, but I'm not gonna shed a tear for when you're shedding tears because the character is running a train on you and fucking you up. Um, because you didn't learn the matchup. So yeah. Um, Clive. I've already done Clive. Um, Leo. Nobody gives a shit about Leo. On that, I will agree with Mayman Sui, and that's why Leo is in question mark. First time I made this video, we I talked about how I don't know where to put Leo, and after like sitting here for 5 minutes pondering where to put Leo, I decided I'm gonna make a new tier, and I'm glad I made a new tier because this is basically a character that is designed to pander to Muslims, and they Tekken failed. Um, maybe some Muslims play Shaheen, but I don't. I think the vast majority are not. They're sticking with Mishimas and stuff like that. Um, especially Pakistan and all those places that are like highly known for Tekken. They're not gonna just jump to this character because he's Muslim. Right. So because the community is so dead, I don't even know where to put Shaheen. Um, so funny toxic. It's gonna go Azucena. I love a lot of Azucenas because they're so cunty, but they're trolly as well, and it's kind of funny because their character is a joke and they play like a joke. But she's like the funniest of the funny toxic characters. Victor, low tier god, low tier god, low tier god, low tier god. Okay, moving on. Uh, this is the worst of funny toxic. Um, so Lidia also makes the game look like dog shit, but um, people who play um, what's his name? Jesus, I can't remember his name. What the hell is this guy's name? Lars. Oh my god. People who play Lars, they really. I seen a funny troll compilation on YouTube where Lars is like spamming on someone. You're not funny and you're making the game look like dog shit. The only reason you're going in funny toxic is because you think you're funny. No, you're not. You're actually making people want to uninstall the game. Um, you're people who play like that. Yeah, you're haha. Uh, I'm gonna block you though because oh, and by the way, season 3 is gonna rip you a new one because that bullshit. Say goodbye in season 3. Say goodbye to those fucking troll videos in season 3. Um, that shit is not gonna work in season 3 if Bandai Namco has any brains whatsoever. Um, it actually reminds me of troll looping in Street Fighter 6. It's a part of the game that makes the game overall look shit. So when I see a video of a Mai doing tro, then dash in, fucking tro, dash in, tro, dash in, tro, it makes me think, okay, well, this is like an anti-advertisement where an advertisement is bringing people into the game and your shit that is supposedly funny is actually gonna make people decide to keep their money inside their wallet and not give it to Bandai Namco because the game looks like dog shit. It looks like it's not fun. Um, in Tekken, at least, there's more counterplay, um, but there's potentially some more counterplay to the stuff I'm talking about that I haven't figured out yet. But like when your intent is to make the game look like shit, and you think you're funny when you're not, yeah, you can kind of go fuck yourself. So yeah, Hwoarang players, they're toxic, they downplay, and generally they're assholes. So yeah, Hwoarang is gonna stay in toxic. I know he's not. I know not everybody is like that, but generally they are assholes. So he's in the top of toxic. Uh, Claudio is gonna be. Do you know what? I'm gonna. I think a lot of players know that he's broken. I'm gonna put him in honest. I think in hindsight, I've heard people admit that Claudio was broken. So even though I really hate fighting against a character, I know that people are honest about him at least. Law, complete bullshit, and the character is super downplayed by the community, and the community think it's funny to lag out the game, which I guess, like, okay, it's funny the first couple times, but when you exist to make the game laggy for other people, you're a bit of a joke. Eddy, tree. There is literally a bot that plays Tekken and it only presses tree, and that bot um, got to like I think the rank before blue ranks. But nowadays that doesn't work. Eddy has a lot more figured out. I don't think that bot on Twitch is still active, but it was funny times. So I almost want to put him in funny toxic, but I don't think I can because the character is pretty serious and people do seriously downplay him. Um, do you know what? I think in the Moonslaw versus D all the way G, I think D all the way G admitted that Eddy is kind of brain dead. So thanks to D all the way G, I'm gonna put him in honest, and that's if I remember correctly. If D all the way G comes into my comments and says, no, Eddy is actually super fair and balanced, I'm gonna say, okay, well, in that case, correct this now. Um, he's gonna Eddy put him down in toxic. But I don't think the all the way G is that delusional. I'm pretty sure he's a fair guy. Um, I didn't watch the whole set. I just watched the trash talking at the end, and I thought it was pretty funny. He roasted a moonsault. So shout out to all the way G. Um, right. Next up, we have Lee. Um, Lee is super downplayed, and the character is really annoying to fight. I don't know if the player base is honest about him. Oh, whoa. Is Oh, whoa. The king of down players plays this guy. I forgot his name, but he's in Main Man Swee's chat from time to time. He's like a big content creator. He plays Lee and he downplays like crazy, and it's like pure cope delusion. Um, I'm not gonna say fuck that guy, but fuck that guy's opinions because craziest, most insane, most delusional fucking cope ever. Um, what is his name? Master something? I literally argued in the chat with him, um, and eventually he was just doing like LOL or like a laughing face, and I was like, "Well, yeah, you're saying that because you can't disprove me." He brought up something about he was basically trying to compare Kazuya to Lee, um, in a way that made no sense at all, and it was super just like, bro, you're making your character and your community look so bad by doing that. Uh, do not do that shit in season 3 because you're you single-handedly have brought your character to potentially honest. Like I was considering putting them in honest, and then I remembered you, and I was like, oh, what's his name? He's gonna think I'm like a coward or a pussy for not saying his name, but I forgot his name. I genuinely forgot his name. I'm gonna see if I can look it up really quick. Okay, I'm in main man Swee's chat right now. All right, see it there. I'm gonna ask, who's that Lee main who downplays like crazy? I forgot the name. Fighting GM. Fighting GM. GM is basically the only one. There we go, guys. I don't know if you can see, but everyone knows who I'm talking about. So if people want to say that, oh, I'm making bullshit up, no, I'm not making bullshit up. You're known for doing that shit, and it's nothing personal, but you're known for doing that shit. Um, right. So Lee originally was before Law. So Nina is next. Nina, I know the stereotype is that the community is really defensive when it comes to Nina, so that's why I'm gonna put her in toxic. I personally don't have any experience with those type of people, but I can't I can't in good faith say that they're probably honest when I have so many people saying that Nina players are toxic. Um, like everyone would need to be lying. Um, right, Paul. I think the character is bullshit, and I think he's super downplayed. Um, so that's why he's in toxic. It's basically as simple as that. Zafina, I remember back in Tekken 7, Sonic Fox got Zafina to, I think it was some high rank, right? And then he stopped playing and said, oh, well, Tekken is easy, just like every other fighting game. I'm the best. I fucking cleared it. But no, that's not the case. You played a character that nobody knows how to play against, has super tricky animations to the point where you can snake edge top players with Zafina. People won't recognize the animation, and yeah, Zafina's just not been the most fun character to play against. And the player base, the only person I can even remember who plays him is Sonic Fox, who said that cope. So I'm not gonna put him in Chernobyl because, like, in fairness, he was new, so he doesn't know that Zafina is like that. But there it is. Toxic at least. Right, Chernobyl for Bryan. So super duper obvious. I think everyone saw this coming. I don't think I even need to explain it. Bryan is in Chernobyl because not only is he the biggest down player, like does he have the biggest down players, but the players are super elitist. A lot of the players, they will use like a Hitler fucking customization, and you'll check their Steam profile, and it will be like not not even like not even like politically they have like a different version of history than like the mainstream thinks. It will be like, no, I'm just trying to upset. It's like I'm just trying to upset people. I'm just trying to like piss people off. It's not even like uh historical revisionism or anything like that. It will just be like, oh, I'm just trying to offend people. I'm just being an incel. So yeah. Also, the character, it's so overplayed how much skill he takes compared to how much he actually takes. I was able to do taunt jet upper no problem after 40 minutes. Um, I still have not done down forward 2 perfect electric. I want to be able to do that at some point. I've practiced it for hours. I still can't do it. I don't know if it's literally my controller can't do it or what, but I really, really want to be able to do a down forward 2 perfect electric at some point. And I feel like I just I just want to be able to do it. That's all. And I hate that I can't. But you know, one day hopefully that will change. Alisa. All right. So this is kind of the more sadistic troll, where like usually they would be in funny's toxic, but like they're so cancer, and their their version of funny is you not having fun, um, and you kind of suffering. So that's what Alyssa players tend to do. They just tend to ruin everyone else's fun and make sure that um, I'm my good time comes at the expense of your good time, and that's the vibe I get from Alyssa players. And like deliberately playing like an asshole. Um, like there's playing to win, which is different from playing like an asshole. These Alyssa players literally try like make you look stupid and like bully you with troll moves, and when it doesn't work they will rage quit, or like if you beat them they will leave a comment on your profile like uh, go lie in a coffin or something. So yeah, because you know how they don't just say outright, oh, go kill yourself, because they know they'll get censored. They do this like pseudo into like pseudo insult, um, where they think they're being so clever, but they're actually fucking idiots. Okay, well, that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the list. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I will leave the timestamps to make this easier for you all to watch. And by the way, a big note that is very important, and I probably should have said this at the very beginning, this is all in generalization. You might be the nicest person in the world and play Alyssa O'Brien, and good for you. And if you are that person, let me know. But I'm going off general experience. Generally, you will get a lot of Bryan players who are incels, and it's just how it is. So yeah, and you will get a lot of players who play like Armor King, and they're based. Let me look. Let me go back and look at my list because I'm in OBS now. Or yeah, Kuma. Kuma, Armor King, Lili, Reina. Reina. Asuka players tend to be new and stuff like that, so usually they're wholesome. Alright, guys, have a good one, and peace out.